Solutions. It's a deep technology company specializing in cross-country pipeline inspections. It was supported by GAIL and ONGC, and we are going to have Mr. Bhuvanesh Kumar Sharma, one of the founders of the company, to join us for this. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Congratulations. So we go next to the award-winning startups, the top 3. We go with the second runner-up start first. Alloy Cell eCell Private Limited, which makes eco-centric batteries from aloe vera. It also tracks and collects all kinds of hazardous battery materials, recycling them into fertilizers, amongst other things. It's been supported by Department of Science and Technology, MOHUA, of course, with the Honorable Minister's, overall guidance in that Mighty, Startup India, and RKVY. And we have Mr. Hardeep Singh receiving the award. They will also receive a cash prize which will reach you directly. So thank you so much. We next have the first runner-up, Vasiters Private Limited, which provides high-efficiency and cost-effective engineered composite solutions, repair solutions for pressure pipelines. Backed by GAIL, IOCL, and IIT Madras Incubation Center. The award is going to be received by Ms. Subbalakshmi and Dr. M. K. Bera. Congratulations, well done. And now we have the winner of this award, which will get 3 lakhs. Vasiters have got 2 lakhs, which will again be transferred to them directly. Erof Technologies is a AI-based underwater inspection solutions enterprise dedicated to cutting-edge unmanned technologies. IROV has secured investments from GAIL, KC Capital, and Venture Center. We have Mr. Abhishek Zakaria taking the award. Congratulations. And as I mentioned, they get 3 lakhs, which is going to directly reach across to themselves. May I request you to take the seat. And we now go to the wrap-up of IEW 2020, and just as statistics, there were 46 sessions, 3 ministerial panels, and many interesting and educative side events, which many of you would have attended. I have attended several of them. And then we have seen how it has kind of brought the mood over the last few days, and really inspired all of us. And the people who have inspired us in going to that point are the 2 we have on the dais today. So, Honorable Minister, it has been such a wonderful 4 days. So thank you for that. I think we should all thank you for bringing this to India and making this happen. Join your hands together, please. Just as a personal reflection, I can say that I see events across the world. This, as a second year, has built upon fabulously about the first year start which we had. It's covered so many facets of energy all across, very, very rounded discussions on energy and the energy transition and everything associated with that. And in some sense, it's an announcement of India's coming to age and becoming a formidable player in the global energy economy. It is impossible to think of this a few years ago, but now that is the situation. So wonderful. Congratulations again to both of you, and what an inspiration as you have been, and what a guidance you have provided to the sector for this particular journey. I have a few questions, which I'm sure the audience wants to hear about. In the second year of this event, edition of this event, how do you see this? How has it evolved for you, Honorable Minister?
Well, first of all, I think let me start by giving credit where it is really due. And I think credit is due to all of you who came from different parts of India, different parts of the world, different geographies, different interests. And I think that interest is exemplified and encapsulated if I tell you that the strong and robust participation from the CEOs and board members representing not only the largest oil, gas, but also biofuel, renewable technology producers, etc. So last year, somehow there was an impression that it was more on the traditional fossil fuel industry. I had tried to point out then that there was a lot of biofuel, a lot of compressed biogas, green hydrogen. But this year, I think that focus is not only evenly spread, but I could even argue that perhaps it is tipped on the side of the greener energies. Let me just read out to you, and I think we owe it to them because they were the sponsors of this event. Saudi Aramco, Rosneft, Exxon, Petrobras, Gazprom Neft, gas producers, Qatar Gas, Chevron, Tellurian, in biofuels, Verbio, Lanstec, renewable players, Vernova, Serentica, service providers, SLB, Halliburton, Baker Hughes. Now, if you were to read out this list to anyone sitting anywhere in the world, you'd say it comprises the major players. And the fact that they chose to come here, I think, is a reflection of two things. One is that they believe that India Energy Week has come to acquire a prominent place amongst available platforms where if you go and spend 4 days, you can meet a wide cross-section of people, those whom you may otherwise take much longer to interact with if they are placed in different global geographies. Number two, I don't think there is any disconnect or there can ever be a disconnect. Why does a platform like ADIPEC have attraction? Because it is in the heart of an area where there is a great energy discussion or discourse. Equally, I think India Energy Week has demonstrated. You asked a question, my friend, I can say number of exhibitors is 30% higher, number of footfall is about 40,000-45,000. I mean, each statistic is a growth on last year. Last year we had 12,000 square meters of exhibition space. This year we have used 18,500 square meters. I went on the tower on top to take a survey of what is being planned. And we are dealing here not with 18,500 square meters, but the ONGC chairman said they are looking at 80,000 square meters. And that's what this space will be when we meet here the next time. And I'll come to that in a minute. I think the big takeaways from this, you know, each of you have had great bilateral discussions. Some things are in the public domain. India's 20-year gas deal with Qatar, it's in the public domain. There are many discussions which have taken place which are not yet in the public domain, but which you will get to find out, or you will choose the timing when you let it be known. But I think in the coming years, when you remember IEW, one, you will remember the Prime Minister making an announcement that E20 fuel will be available from April of 2023. Today, E20 fuel is being retailed in 9,700 retail points in India. That's a big boost to biofuels. When you look at IEW, and that's only one of the things I'm mentioning, IEW 24 or second edition, the world's first green hydrogen fuel cell bus in front of which the ministers and the CEOs were photographed. I think that's a statement. And it's a statement that we have every intention of implementing for immediate results. The CEO's roundtable, which the Honorable Prime Minister chaired, which is the 8th occasion he chaired it, second time under the auspices of the IEW. One of the participants, the CEO of a very major company in the world, said, all countries formulate policies, some implement them quickly, very few countries implement those policies in the shortest space and show results immediately. And I think that is the India energy story today. The fact that BPCL had a domestically produced electrolyzer, domestic, done in collaboration with BARC, 30% cheaper than any imported electrolyzer of that class, shows the kind of work which is going on independently. IEW becomes an opportunity to showcase such development. Equally, if you look at the kind of progress that is being done in making sustainable aviation fuels from vegetable oils, from used cooking oil, etc., and quite independent of the fact that mandates may come in the European Union and elsewhere on sustainable aviation fuels, India is another country like Brazil where the growth of this industry will witness exponential and rapid advancement. Going around the exhibition center yesterday, I was deeply impressed. And why am I saying it here? Because the exhibitors put in a lot of effort and money to produce such high quality exhibits. I'm not only talking about the 6 countries which had country stalls, the bigger companies in the world, but even individual entrepreneurs. The effort that they took. I saw, for instance, there technological innovation of the highest quality. Equally, I think India, as is widely accepted, expected also, I would say, and accepted, that the growth in demand globally, a large percentage, 25% in the next 2 decades, will come from India. But that growth will not just be in exploration and production, imports, it will also be in biofuels. So the India transitioning story to green energy, I think, was on display here. And again, I thank all of you for making that possible. Our foreign collaborators, I named some of them, both in the biofuel sector and elsewhere. I think it is their faith and the fact that this is another platform which has come up, which makes our worthwhile. I have a long list of people to thank, but I'll come to that later.
Yes, thank you, Minister. And you honestly preempted a part of my question about what are the global players telling you. They're telling you that this is the land where it's all getting implemented at warp speed. Is there anything else that they're telling you which comes to your mind?
No, you see, the interaction with the global players is not a one-time action. Some of the CEOs I've met thrice in the last 6 months. Many of them I've met many times over the last 3 years or so that I had the privilege of being associated with this ministry. What is important is what they're doing. And I think at a time when the global energy landscape is going to change, India is diversifying its sources of supply. It has already done so. Newer providers of traditional energy are coming on the market. Existing players are recalibrating their positions, but they are making plans for the next 10 years or so. All of them have very positive stories to tell. They don't only want to be suppliers, they want to enhance their investment in our energy sector across, in E&P, downstream, upstream, in the technological innovation processes which are going on. So the message received from the global players is a very positive one, and I'm not the only one talking to them. My secretaries had more. Maybe Mr. Jain would like to elaborate on the kind of responses that we have received.
So I think what is happening is that there was a time when India was just one of the multiple markets that they would probably be sending. So yeah, it used to be small, then became a little bigger. But that was about it, that was the story. Now what has changed, and that's what we hear from them, how their understanding of India has become multidimensional. So it's no longer just about, I have a product, here it is, let me sell it, and that's what I'll monitor. Now many of them have very large back offices, a point repeatedly many of them made. So these numbers range from 2,000 to 13,000 to 15,000, those kind of sheer talent and expertise which they keep here, which they have recruited from India, not just within India but elsewhere in the world. Second, the kind of manufacturing facilities they have been setting up here, whether it's in lubricants, it's in the kind of LNG that they are importing, the terminals that they are owning, so all those kind of things have started happening. Third is operations which they do from here, either in terms of monitoring wells, for example, across the world, or operations elsewhere, and also then looking at collaborations. That's the fourth element which they have. So they will have collaboration with our NOCs, with our OMCs. So that is a number which, though their conversations are much more about this, and that's what we hear from them.
Right. And I just must observe from my own role, I see that India is not any longer just a consumption center, not the largest incremental consumption center. It's the nerve center of the world of energy now, and we are seeing that happening. And I think that's the transition, which again, congratulations to both of you.
I just want to add a footnote, if I may. If you look at the energy sector globally, and if you look at the world of finance, which is, I think, a part of that overall system, there are Indian origin people, maybe now foreign press voter, but whenever it's in Davos in a huge meeting, you can count the Indian origin people in the world of finance and in the oil and gas sector, in the newer energy, very large. Today what you're getting is an open acknowledgement when they sit, for instance, in the India-US roundtable. And I must say, somewhat taken aback by the numbers they were citing. I think Mr. Jain was modest. If somebody has 10,000 engineers here, 15,000 engineers working, that also raises another question. And many of these are products of our IITs, our engineering colleges. But it raises a question. If that is the expectation and demand, then your ability to produce quality engineers for a while needs to be questioned. I want to share with you, without the permission of my colleagues in the OMCs, one of them told me, yes, they are increasing, all these foreign companies are taking these engineers, but they are poaching from us. So I think it's a very valid point. But I said, all right, that shows upward mobility, lateral mobility, it's a good sign. But I see a time coming. Today already the public sector in the energy sector is doing as well, if not better than the private sector. I also see a time coming with a little tweaking and changes where the movement will be in the reverse direction. As you have engineers coming back, doctors coming back who had went overseas, but today they come back here. So I see that. That is the strength of the Indian economy. When it rises to become the third largest economy within a few years. I'm not making a political statement, although I know we're almost in political season. But I think I am very proud of the fact. I don't mind if an engineer working with, I'm sorry about the OMCs, they may not like what I'm saying. All right, if he's finished his contract with you or he gets on a higher listing to another way, your answer is you find a way of attracting 3 more people back for every one that goes. And I think that will happen. But in addition, a final point I want to make is when there is focused attention on increasing E&P, our gas production has been going up by 18% for the last 3 years. If you look at the new fines, ONGC, if you look at what IOCL is doing, they have identified 4 states where 400 petrol pumps will only be selling ethanol. I mean, these are new changes. We started E20 only last year, April. Today we are talking about 400 stations with pure 100% ethanol. If you look at the kind of work that is being done in compressed biogas, I think nobody can turn around and say that IEW is only on one part of the energy equation. It is balanced across, and I think the newer innovations can be marketed here. And I think some of the work that has been done in recognizing young talent, that is part of that process. And one final, and I'm going to conclude with that comment I have. If you were to take and dissect who participated last year and this year, you'll find that the age profile is much lower. And that is the strength, I think, of a platform like IEW.
So thank you, sir. I don't know whether you have time for 5 more minutes. Okay. So just observing on those points which you made, that the Indian energy sector was rather narrow, both sometimes also in mindset rather narrow, the size, not just size, but now it's become vast, it's become deep, and it's become wide because the fuels which you're talking about, we're not talking of oil and gas alone, we're talking of every kind of things coexisting together. Is that ecosystem coming together to your satisfaction? Or do you think in the next 1 to 2 years we need to amp up on something?
My satisfaction is not what is the yardstick. I have a boss whose vision for India is not only 2047 Viksit Bharat, but it's a very ambitious vision. The other day he announced that 1 crore, 10 million households will get solar rooftops, which will in turn make it possible for those families to draw 300 units of electricity free with the additional electricity produced going into the grid. And that would also serve for domestic clean cooking. It would also serve as a charging station for EVs. Can you visualize how huge a project this is? And as I said, you have to be, somewhat limited in your thinking when you start off. We couldn't get more than 1.5%, in fact less than 1.5% biofuel blending up to 2014. And that also we wanted it only in 10 of our states and union territories. Today we've got 12% blending in the entire country, and we're going to take it to 20%. And that 20% is also a mental inhibiting factor, because we were told automobiles can have the same components without any change. And today you produce E20, you will produce E85, you will go further, and the automobile. So the whole ecosystem itself is gearing up to be a much bigger platform. So I think that the best is yet to come.
Thank you. And I have one last point which I must pick up on, that ethanol point and the clean fuels point which you have made. I've been a convert in the bioenergy space. Let's see some of the things which have been happening at Government of India, but also even more on the ground developments which have been happening. I was on a panel, moderating a panel on ethanol cook stoves, amongst many other things, and how the supply chain, how the retailing of all of that, including the kind of things which you're talking about, is coming together is amazing. But I'm also seeing another trend, that large energy and small energy are coming together. And I think that's what starts making that difference. And I think that gives us huge amount of positivity as we go forward. This IEW is coming to a close. Unfortunately, like all good things, it must come to a close and we must get on with life. But any concluding messages from you as we close this event?
No, thank you very much. I think the more we thank our participants, the more there is need to thank them. Because you can have a platform. This facility has, as my colleague, the ONGC chairman tells me, and the secretary and I keep discussing, 250 acres. Thereabouts in terms of land. They're building a jetty. And next time you come here, which will be not February 2015, I'm to make an announcement on that, but February 2015, but 2016, sorry, 26, or whatever. 26. You will be able, if you're living in St. Regis Hotel or one of the other hotels around, you just have to get into a ferry and come straight. You don't need to come through the roads. They've been able to build this fantastic infrastructure. Engineers India, all our other companies, with everybody's cooperation, the government of Goa, in about 6 months' time. I mean, this is fantastic. I also told him that out of the 250 acres, 25 acres, he should have a bidding competition amongst global hotel chain so that they can build another hotel on this land itself. Look, why I say this is just the beginning. You mentioned ethanol cooktops. Global Biofuels Alliance. I mean, I have stories of individual entrepreneurs having sold 1 million cooktops to Kenya, and they are importing 93 octane ethanol from Brazil to make it. But these are the stories which are not known. But you come here, I saw that a cooktop. You have a bottle, you put it into a ethanol dispenser, you remove it from there, put it onto the cooktop, and you can start your cooking. So, ethanol, biofuels, compressed biogas, green hydrogen. I think the world is just beginning to see that green hydrogen may not be as distant a story as was initially thought. And at least the Indian estimates of 5 million metric tons per annum by 2030 is very much an underestimation. So I think all that you will see, but thank you for giving me this opportunity. The next edition of the India Energy Week will be between 11th and 14th February in New Delhi in a beautiful newly constructed Yashobhumi complex, which is a world-class center, and there are lots of hotels available in Aero City, etc. And I hope to be able to see all of you there. And the one in 2026 in February will be again in Goa. By that time, we will have all the infrastructure completed on a permanent basis. Once again, thank you all very much. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, thank you. It's about an ecosystem coming together. It's all about us coming together. IW has created such a fantastic platform, and for which we must all thank you both, and of course, thanks to all of us over here. Thank you.